Hi everyone, Josh with Talk About Trek here, and today we're going to be talking about one of my very favorite books of all time, The Nitpicker's Guide for Next Generation Trekkers by Phil Farrand. I have had this book since I was, probably 12 years old, and as you can see, it has seen a lot of good use. So what this book is basically a guide to the first 6 seasons of Next Generation. He gives a summary of each episode, and then he goes into picking it apart. So he'll go over like plot oversights, equipment oddities, continuation and production errors, changed premises. Let me give you just kind of a little bit of an example. So here, he's talking about the episode The Price. And at one point in the episode, Raul and Troy have an intimate dinner together, and Raul makes an interesting choice in his menu selection. When he puts his fork into the bowl in front of him, and then draws the fork to his mouth, the fork has nothing on it. Is this some kind of new air food? Is Raul on a stringent no-fat diet? Maybe he's enjoying an entree from Guiltless Pleasures, that new line of culinary delights, featuring the naughtiest, most laden dishes ever invented with a wonderful new twist. They're invisible, so no one can see what you're eating. And it goes on and on like that. So this guy has went through and picked apart so many things. But for me, when I was a kid, none of those things were really why I was picking up and reading this book. I got this at the time because I was in love with Star Trek The Next Generation. And what this gave me was a way to keep reading about episodes even when they weren't on the air anymore. So, you gotta remember, guys, back in that time, there was no streaming. Maybe if you were lucky, you'd get a VHS. But other than that, we just had to wait each week for our syndicated episode to come on, or our new episode, and that was it. So in the meantime, young Josh had this guide to read through, and I spent many long nights just kind of going through and reading episode summaries and all sorts of interesting things that this guy could put into this book, and it really stood the test of time for me. Just picking it up tonight, even before I started this video, I was sitting here just going through and just having a great time looking at all the stuff that I remembered from when I was a kid. A couple other things to point out that he does in here is each episode he's got a couple of trivia questions, and they are not easy too. So in the episode Sarek, for example, how old is Sarek in the episode? You really got to be watching to figure that out. What rank did Picard hold when he met Sarek for the first time? So, he also does some good stuff in here, too, where in some of the episodes he'll write down like some of his favorite moments. In this episode, Sarek, great episode. Patrick Stewart does a phenomenal acting job at the end of this episode. His portrayal of Sarek's emotions running rampant over Picard is absolutely wonderful. Oh, and that is so true. And if you haven't seen that, go watch that now, at least just for that scene, because it is a masterclass in acting from Patrick Stewart. So let's read a couple more of the errors here and see what he talks about. So let's pick an episode here at random. Perfect. Data's Day. So in Data's Day, at one point, Data returns to his quarters and he orders food for his cat. The bowl that materializes contains a small amount of something on the bottom, yet in the close-up, as Data places it on the floor, the bowl suddenly becomes over half filled with food. Is he using some sort of de-aerated food that puffs up when exposed to oxygen? No. Somebody's just watching this episode a little bit too closely, that's all. Let's find another fun one. So here, we've got in the episode, the enemy, absolutely nothing. Will you look at that? So he couldn't pick a single nit out of that episode. This episode stumped the nitpicker. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Kudos to the creator. Well, let's read the trivia questions at least. So, the enemy, how did LaForge detect the Romulan craft? He used the positron scan. Come on. Besides Pearl Harbor, what other location does Picard remember as the stage for events that compromised a bloody preamble to war? Station Salem 1. Interesting trivia. So, man, this has been a fun little trip down memory lane. The Nitpicker's Guide for Next Generation Trekkers. There are more of these, too. Of course, this only goes up to Season 6. I always wanted to keep reading to see what he had to pick out of Season 7. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind finding a copy that had both covers again, just so I had that. So, anyway, wink, wink, wink. If any of my number one fans are watching, Christmas is coming. Make it snow. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Just picked this book up today and thought I'd spend a little time talking about it with you. It's one of my favorites, and if you like Star Trek The Next Generation, I think you would like it too. As always, thank you for watching. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you next time. Bye.